All right, I'm about to bring Judge Eskew in.
I'm gonna close my door.
Good morning. This is the Bastrop County Court at Law, March 1st, 2021. The court calls number 1919695, purpose of a status hearing. And we're going to address the disputed issues, documents, witnesses, proposed disposition of issues, and whether there will be any interview of the children. Mr. Jenkins, you're the original petitioner,
Yes, sir.
and you have also an amended petition on file.
I believe that's correct.
That is your live pleading.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Pfeiffer, oh, and Mr. Jenkins, who do you represent? You,
Alejandro Plancarte, the father.
okay. And Mr. Pfeiffer, you represent Elvia Plancarte?
Yes, sir. I substituted for her original attorney,
Who was the original attorney?
Daniela
Littleton.
Littleton.
Yeah.
Okay, Daniela Littleton, an attorney from Austin, and I talked to her on the phone. And by the way, she filed a original answer and counterclaim, and I think her pleading is a pleading we're prepared to go to trial on.
Okay. Mr. Jenkins, what are the disputed issues?
The disputed issues, I don't think there are. The kids live primarily with their mother, and I don't believe custody, conservatorship, possession, and access are truly contested. They live with their mother. I don't know that they're actually seeing their father or not, but I think the contested issues are going to be the property division of the home. There are some competing claims of both parties as far as unequal distributions of the marital estate and fault, and maybe even some causes of action for an STD transmittal. There are some odd things in there, but it's just really a property division case.
Did you, you did plead cruel treatment, and because I was going to go back over the pleading again, but I wasn't able to because I was having technical difficulties that I think are now resolved. But have you said causes of action for that? Have you pled those?
I believe so.
Okay.
But I don't think this is a fight about the kids. I don't believe there's not a custody's not in dispute. They're going to live primarily with their mother. My guy's going to pay child support. I think, standard possession order. There are some disputes about the marital home, what's going to happen with it, and how much child support and back child support. Those are kind of the issues that we're.
Your Honor, I agree with that. There's lots of things in the pleadings regarding, I guess, not the cruel treatment, but treatment that grounds for divorce and such as that. For example, adultery is pled. We don't intend to offer any evidence, although there may be some testimony, but it's nothing. We don't believe that's going to be a disputed. They won't require witnesses, or I don't think even very much testimony about that. I think this will basically come down to a hearing about the property, the marital home, and even then, in that case, Your Honor, I think we're before the end of the day, we may have an agreement about a appraiser who will set an appraised value of the property, and that will be binding upon both parties. And so that will take away a lot of testimony there. And what we'd have left, though, we might argue about. We are asking for a more than 50% of the marital property because of many different things, including the needs of the children and so forth. And there may be some testimony regarding those things, but it would only relate to as the propriety or the advisability of having a disproportionate share of the division of the marital property.
Okay. So do you also agree that there's conservatorship, possession, and access and child support will not be disputed issues?
They will not be disputed issues. And Your Honor, also to even that, I think by the end of the day, we may actually have agreement as to the
Appraiser?
just get a breakdown on the percentages.
Oh, okay. All right. So are there any other assets of note other than the home?
There's a marital home and a lot next door. So when I say marital home, I'm including the vacant lot that's adjacent. I don't believe so. I think that my client has been gone from the marital home for quite some time. I can check with him. There may be some, it's my understanding that appliances and furniture, he's left there. The kids still live there. And I don't believe, whether or not he has a few personal items there or not, I'd have to check with him. But I think they both have a car. She may have a small amount of retirement, Neil's client, but I don't think there's anything really of substance there other than the marital home.
I concur with that.
Any debts?
I remodel certain things from the house that I do owe my mother and my sister.
We have a debt, Your Honor, that we acknowledge will be a separate debt to her mother, from her mother
My mother and my sister, both
and
of them.
sister. So that would not be it.
But I do
Right. Do you, okay, well, with regard to documents, I would like for you to exchange documents at least 1 week before trial. We're going to get a trial date at sometime soon, and then work backwards 1 week in advance that you'll have all documents that you might introduce into evidence to the other side with a request to stipulate its admission into evidence. What I'd like for you to do is, especially on Zoom, this is complicated. I would really like for you, there's a lot of time and expense going into getting documents in admissible form when no one really disputes that this is a authentic document and either is not hearsay or there's an exception to the hearsay rule, or you're not worried about it. That's the real document. You're not concerned about it. You may argue about what it means, but that you're not really disputing the admissibility. So we can save time, we can streamline that, and we can help your own work if you will request its stipulation as admissible into evidence, and then reserve any legitimate disputes for trial. That way you can, we can really focus on what is contested and what is not contested. And so then to Haley, all of your documents, at least 2 business days before trial, with the list of what is stipulated it is as admissible and what is reserved for trial.
2 business days prior?
Yes. I've scratched off interviews, so now I'm thinking there's no need for an interview with the children. So that's correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Jenkins, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Question to ask Mr. Jenkins. He had indicated that he wishes to take my client's deposition. Is that still the?
Yeah, yes, sir. So when we're setting a date, if it could be more along the lines of 60 days out, I want to leave time to take Ms. Plancarte's deposition to clear up some
Like
issues.
his deposition the same day, but following her deposition, if that would be.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I would like when you turn in your documents to Haley, that you also submit a proposed disposition of issues. That's required by our local rules, but we haven't really been a stickler on that. But here's why it's a good idea in this scenario, not your particular fact situation, but in the new Zoom and COVID world, what happens a lot of times is it's very difficult for everybody not to speak over each other. When you're not in the same room with your client sometimes, and you're not in the same room with the judge, and you're not in the same room with your opponent, things get complicated. There are Wi-Fi issues. It's a good idea. And then this is what a lot of people do. I say, would you like to make an opening statement? No, we'll waive that. Now I don't have a proposed disposition of issues. I have a waiver of opening statement where you kind of do the same thing. And then I'm figuring out in the middle of the trial what's really contested. So a proposed disposition of issues to say, this is how we'd like it to turn out. I don't necessarily care that it's in a specific form, but I do like to know now, especially because so that I can help referee a little bit better when we're all not in the same room, to say, this is exactly the way I think it ought to come out if I'm right.
To Haley, or do you want us to e-file it in the cause?
Just a Haley is fine. Either way, I don't care. I just want to have it to look at. If you want to e-file it, that's fine. Give us some heads up that it is e-filed and not to Haley. Haley will give me a heads up if she has it. But if it's e-filed, I may not know it. Okay. And that's just to help us. I fully expect that y'all would be different than some of the hearings we've had, but we've had some real chaotic hearings. I'm trying to, we're learning in this Zoom world to, certain things that we can try to do to streamline things and get what's really disputed. Because arguments in the courtroom are bad, but not nearly as bad as they are on Zoom. And if I know what we're ultimately trying to prove, then it helps me out. So can y'all do this in 2 hours?
Neil?
I don't think so, but I think we could I would like to ask for half a day, but with the goal that we have tried to do it within 2 hours. If Mr. Jenkins and I can agree on, I think the issue regarding the property, the main issue, then I think we can do it 2 hours. Otherwise, it may be half a day.
Okay, since it's going to be at least 60 days out, which is what Mr. Jenkins was requesting, I'll give you a half day. Let me let you know that, it will kind of be a priority set this far out in advance and for half a day, because it doesn't fit on a regular docket when we do that. If the world change, I'm anticipating we're still going to be on Zoom. If the world changes, and we can give you the option of being all live in the courtroom, we will do that at a later time. You can tell us at that point which you prefer. If we're really, I'm kind of taking my cue from the tone of the state's releases, both the Supreme Court and the governor. And when it seems like they are ramping things down, then I open things up a little more. And when they seem like they're closing things up more, then we close them up more too. So, 60 days out, maybe the world may have changed and may not. So, but we won't ask for any option until we know that it's available. Is there any other issue that I haven't thought to ask you that you wanted to bring up?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, this will conclude the hearing, and you can get with Jennifer and use our normal process of getting a setting. You can ask her for dates, and y'all can confer. And then if you can't get an agreement, you can set it subject to some motion for continuance. Oh, one thing I did want to address is that when we're getting down 60 days and more from now, we might end up having to juggle some things, because we're going to have a list of jury trials and CPS cases that might run up into some deadlines, and the world will stop while we do those, because we don't want to lose jurisdiction on those, and for jury trials that we haven't been able to have. So, okay, thank you. This will conclude the hearing.
Neil and Will, I can
Yes.
go ahead and give you a May 5th date if you want to take it by Zoom.
Can I check my calendar real quick?
I just know I don't have anything set that day, so if you want to go ahead and take it, you probably can.
That works for me.
let me have about 2 minutes.
And that does work for me. We'll check with Neil.
Okay, Neil, we'll wait. He said half a day, right? But you guys
Yes, ma'am.
get it done in 30 minutes, maybe?
Maybe not.
I thought I was being funny.
You were. It's super funny.
Maybe Neil would think it's super funny too. May 5th would be a good day because after that, Rodney Reed pops up and Haley's out and I'm out and
Yeah.
he's out.
Right now, I have one district court sitting for the morning of May 5th. I don't know too much about the likelihood of it actually. Could you reserve that, hold that first for maybe a couple of days till I see if I can work out something in district court?
Yep, I can give you a couple of days, Neil, no problem. Okay, so I'm gonna tentatively pencil it in and then you guys just don't forget about me because I'll need that day. May is gonna be a hard month to schedule if it doesn't happen that day.
Thank
That'll be the morning of May 5th, half day.
That will be the morning of May 5th. Yeah, that's correct. Cinco de Mayo.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Insinger.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Neil, I'm going to be here for a little while. If you want to talk to Ms. Plancarte and get back to me on the phone.
Can I call you back in about 30 minutes?
Yes. Perfect.
About 30 minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. We're out of here.